The night was quiet across Earth, but then the sky broke open with light. No sound, no thunder, no explosion. Only lines of silver fire stretching across the heavens. Millions of people stood outside their homes, watching the strange lights move like rivers. Some thought it was a meteor shower. Some thought it was war, but deep inside, everyone felt something greater was happening in every city. Cameras pointed up, voices trembled, children cried, and leaders shouted for calm. No country could explain the lights. No scientist could understand. The world held its breath, waiting for disaster. But disaster never came. Instead, beauty stepped out of the sky. From the silver light came figures, tall and graceful. They were not soldiers, not monsters, but women. Alien women, unlike anything humanity had seen. Their skin glowed softly like the moon. Their eyes carried galaxies, their voices flowed like music. Crowds who should have screamed in fear stood frozen. Unable to look away, the aliens spoke in words humans understood, though no one knew how. "We come in peace, we come to heal," they said. They called Earth the second Eden, a paradise waiting to bloom. They promised no war, no conquest, only gifts. They said they would share their knowledge, cure sickness, clean the seas, and bring life to barren lands. At first, leaders were suspicious. No human had seen such power without a price, but then the gifts came. Diseases that killed millions were erased with a single touch. Rivers black with poison ran clear again. Fields of dust grew food in days. People who had nothing suddenly had hope. The world began to call them angels. Some fell to their knees in prayer. Others lifted their voices in song. Cities opened gates. Banners welcomed them. Humans laughed again, believing paradise had come. But in the shadows, doubts grew. Why were they only women? Where were their men? Why did their beauty feel too perfect, their kindness too smooth? Some whispered that paradise is the most dangerous trap of all. Among the whisperers was Dr. Aaron Blake, a scientist in New London. He did not shout against them. He did not carry signs. He only asked questions no one wanted to answer. He studied the scans, the DNA, the energy that came from their gifts. And one night deep in his lab he froze. What he saw in their biology did not match their promises. His hands shook, his breath caught. He whispered to himself, "This cannot be real. This is not what they say." But before he could reveal his discovery, the power in his lab flickered. The lights went out, machines stopped, and for one terrifying second, he thought he heard a voice whisper in the dark, "Do not tell them, not yet." The next day, the aliens announced a grand plan. In 5 years, they said, Earth would be transformed into a paradise. Not just healed, not just improved, but reborn. They promised a golden future for all humans. Crowds cheered, leaders smiled, and hope rose higher than ever. Yet Dr. Blake stood silent at the edge of the celebration. His heart heavy with the secret he carried. He knew something was hidden in their dream, something that could change everything. And so, while the world celebrated, he began his search for the truth. Because sometimes a dream is not a gift. Sometimes a dream is the beginning of a trap. The aliens did not stop with promises. They moved quickly, spreading their gifts across Earth. Hospitals once filled with suffering became empty in days. Cancers vanished, broken spines healed, the blind saw again, the deaf heard. No human doctor could explain it. Yet no one dared question miracles. In villages where hunger had lasted for centuries, new gardens grew overnight. Alien machines touched the soil and wheat sprouted by morning. Oceans once filled with plastic and oil shone like crystal. Fish returned, birds flew over clean skies. For the first time in generations, children laughed with full stomachs. Human leaders praised the visitors, calling them saviors. The media spread their faces everywhere, golden eyes, glowing skin, voices like music. People wore their symbols on clothes, painted their marks on walls. Some even named their newborn daughters after them. The world was changing, and almost everyone wanted to believe in the dream. But shadows never vanish so easily. Whispers followed the aliens wherever they went. Some said they were hiding their true purpose. Some said paradise was a cage built with invisible walls. And some said Earth had been chosen, not blessed in New London. Dr. Aaron Blake kept working in secret. His heart still carried the memory of that night when the lights went out in his lab. He compared the alien DNA to human DNA again and again. He saw something strange. Patterns repeating, a code inside their blood. A code that seemed less like life and more like a plan. Still, the world did not want his doubts. When he tried to share his research, universities closed their doors. When he asked questions in meetings, people told him to be silent. "You are jealous," they said. "You want the old world of fear and sickness back." But Aaron only wanted the truth. And the truth was hiding behind beauty. Then came the first dark sign. A city named Port Mason received a gift. A tower of alien crystal to power the entire region. At first, the city glowed with endless energy. Lights brighter, cars running clean, machines without fuel. But after 3 days, the city fell silent. No light, no sound, no signal. An entire city of 2 million people vanished into darkness. Governments tried to explain it as a failure. They sent armies to investigate, but no one returned with answers. The aliens stood before cameras and promised safety. They said Port Mason had suffered a technical error. But deep inside, people began to wonder. 2 days later, a weak radio signal escaped the dead city. It carried only one voice, broken and full of fear. "They are choosing," the voice said. "They are choosing who may live in paradise, and who must be taken." Then the signal ended, and Port Mason was silent forever. Crowds demanded answers, but the aliens gave none. Instead, they offered more gifts, more food, more medicine, more healing. And strangely, people accepted. Fear faded under the weight of comfort. They wanted to believe, even if their minds whispered against it. But Aaron Blake did not forget the voice late at night. He looked at the stars and wondered why the aliens had come only as women, why they chose Earth and called it paradise, and why their DNA carried a code too perfect, too careful, he wrote in his journal. Paradise without choice is not paradise, it is control. In the countryside, small groups began to resist. They refused alien gifts. They lived without the crystal machines. They called themselves guardians of Earth. They said humans must stay human no matter the cost. The aliens did not fight them, did not punish them. They only smiled, as if waiting for those groups to disappear on their own. Then something stranger happened. A human child treated by alien healers began to change at first. The change was small. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark. Then his skin shimmered under the sun. Doctors could not explain it. But the aliens called it a blessing. They said it was proof that human and alien life could live as one. Crowds cheered, but Aaron felt his blood run cold. He knew this was not a blessing, it was a test. A test to see if Earth could be shaped. Not just healed, and once the shaping began, there would be no way back. The world celebrated. Fireworks lit the skies, children danced, families smiled, leaders praised the new future. But far from the noise, Aaron whispered to himself, "The dream is becoming real, but whose dream is it?" And deep in the silence of Port Mason, unseen by the cheering world, something moved. Something not human, not alien, but caught between the two, waiting for the moment to step into the light. The world was divided. Some believed the alien women were saviors, angels who turned Earth into paradise. Others whispered that paradise was too perfect, too controlled, too dangerous. Between love and fear, humanity walked on thin ice. Dr. Aaron Blake kept watching from the shadows. He saw the gifts, the healing, the miracles. But he also remembered Port Mason, the city that had vanished into silence, and the strange child whose eyes glowed with alien light. He knew the world was dancing on the edge of something unknown. Then came the woman who changed everything. Her name was Serenia, one of the alien leaders, tall, graceful, with eyes that held both kindness and secrets. She asked to meet a human not of power, not of wealth, but of truth. And she chose a journalist named Maria Torres. Maria was known for asking hard questions. She was not afraid of leaders, not afraid of lies. When Serenia appeared at her small office, Maria almost dropped her recorder. "You want me?" Maria asked, "Why not the president or a general?" Serenia smiled softly. "Because they want answers that make them feel safe. But you want the truth." For days, Maria followed Serenia. She saw how the alien women comforted the sick, cleaned rivers, taught children. Serenia spoke of her people's past. She told Maria of a great war that destroyed their world. Their males had been wiped out by an enemy that hated them. The women fled across the stars, searching for survival, and when they found Earth, they saw not just survival but hope. Maria listened, recording every word, but deep inside she felt torn. Serenia's kindness was real. Her sadness was not false. Yet Maria remembered Port Mason and the frightened voice that cried. "They are choosing," she could not forget, even as Serenia spoke with shining eyes. Meanwhile, strange changes spread across Earth. Children born under alien care began to show differences. Brighter eyes, sharper hearing, stronger health. Parents called it a gift. Doctors called it evolution, but Aaron Blake called it something else, control. He wrote in his journal, "They are rewriting us step by step, smile by smile." Governments grew restless. Military leaders whispered that Earth was being conquered without a single weapon. Meetings were held in hidden rooms. Maps were marked, plans drawn, weapons prepared. If the aliens continued their dream, humanity might have to wake them with fire. But then a shadow came not from Earth but from the stars. Strange signals began to pulse through deep space channels. At first they seemed random, static noise, but one night, Aaron listened to a recording and froze. The signals were not random, they were hunting calls. And they were not sent by the alien women, but by something else, something older, something darker. He rushed to warn leaders, but no one listened. Paranoia, they said. Fear talking again. But Aaron knew he could feel it. The alien women were not the only ones who had found Earth. That same night, Maria sat with Serenia by the sea. The waves glowed faintly from alien machines cleaning the waters. Maria asked quietly, "Why only women? Why hide the truth of your DNA?" For the first time, Serenia looked away. Her voice trembled as she said, "Because we cannot live without you." Maria's heart raced. "What do you mean?" Serenia's eyes shimmered with both sorrow and hope. "We lost our balance, our future, our other half," she whispered. "Earth is not just our paradise, it is our last chance to survive. Together with your kind." Maria felt the weight of those words. For a moment she saw the aliens not as angels or conquerors, but as refugees. But then thunder shook the horizon, not from the sky, but from space. Satellites burned, machines screamed, signals cracked. Something massive had entered Earth's orbit. The world looked up and saw a new shape above the clouds, not graceful, not beautiful, but jagged and dark, a warship enormous, covered in scars of battle. It did not belong to the alien women. It belonged to their enemy, the one who had destroyed their males, and it had followed them to Earth. Panic spread through cities. Governments shouted in fear. For the first time, the alien women looked afraid. Serenia gripped Maria's hand and whispered, "They found us. They always find us." Maria felt her chest tighten. "What do they want?" Serenia's answer was cold as stone. "They want the end of everything we touch." And far away in his dark lab, Aaron Blake stared at the signals flashing red across his screen. He whispered the words no one wanted to hear. "The dream is over. War has come." The shadow of the warship hung over Earth like a storm cloud. It was larger than any city, black metal covered with scars, its engines burning with a sick red light. People on the ground stared at the sky in terror. Some prayed, some screamed, some simply stood frozen. For the first time since their arrival, the alien women had no words of comfort. Governments demanded answers. Who are they? What do they want? Leaders asked the alien council. The alien women bowed their heads. "They are the hunters," Serenia said. "The destroyers of our kind. The killers of our men." Her voice trembled as she added, "And now they have found your world." Panic spread faster than fire. Markets crashed, cities filled with riots. People who once worshipped the aliens now cursed them. "Your war is not ours," they shouted. "You brought this death to us." But still, many others defended them, saying, "If they die, we die too. Earth must stand with them." Dr. Aaron Blake felt the weight of it all. For months he had warned that something larger was hidden. Now the truth floated above Earth in the shape of a warship. Yet part of him still wondered, did the alien women truly fear this enemy? Or was this enemy part of the plan? The governments met in secret chambers. Generals slammed their fists on tables. "If we allow them to fight above our skies, Earth will burn," they said. "But if we attack first, we might start a war we cannot win," others argued. In the end, one truth was clear. Humanity could not stay silent. In the streets, guardians of Earth marched. They held banners saying, "No aliens, no war." No lies. They shouted that the paradise was false, that Earth must fight both the visitors and their hunters. Crowds clashed, brother against brother, friend against friend. The dream of unity cracked, replaced by fear. Meanwhile, Serenia turned once more to Maria Torres, the journalist who had listened, the human who asked without fear. She spoke softly in the dead of night, her voice heavy with sorrow. "We wanted to give you peace before this moment came," she said. "But peace without truth is only silence before the storm." Maria's hands shook as she asked, "What are they? What do they want from Earth?" Serenia looked out at the stars. her golden eyes reflecting fire. "They want to erase us," she said. "They believe life must belong only to them. No balance, no harmony, only power." Her voice broke as she added, "And now they will erase you too, unless we stand together." Maria felt torn between trust and fear. She wanted to believe Serenia, yet she remembered Port Mason, the city that had gone silent. She remembered the strange child with glowing eyes. Was Earth fighting for survival, or already trapped in the alien dream? In his lab, Aaron Blake studied the signals from the warship. He saw patterns, codes, strategies hidden in the noise, and then he saw something worse. The enemy was not only scanning Earth's defenses, they were scanning human DNA. They were looking at humanity itself as if it were prey. Aaron gripped his desk, cold sweat on his face. He whispered, "They don't just want to kill us, they want to use us." He rushed to warn the council. But soldiers blocked his way. The governments had already chosen their path. Secret orders had been given, weapons prepared. Earth was building for war across the world. Strange things began to happen. Planes vanished in the sky, satellites burned. Ships at sea sank without warning. No one saw the enemy, only their shadows and destruction. Fear grew so strong that even children stopped laughing. The paradise of 5 years ago now felt like a fading dream. Then, one night, the alien women revealed their hidden arsenal. Not weapons of destruction, but shields of light. Towers rose in cities. Glowing barriers spread across the skies. They told humans these shields would protect them. But Aaron did not trust the gift, he wrote in his journal. A cage can also look like protection, still. The people cheered, desperate for safety. For the first time, humans and alien women trained side by side. Soldiers marched with them. Pilots studied their ships. The world prepared to fight not for nations, not for power, but for survival itself. Yet in the silence of space, the enemy waited. They did not rush. They did not strike with full force. They watched like predators circling prey. They knew fear would weaken Earth before the first shot was fired. On the last night before the storm, Serenia stood on a balcony with Maria. The sky above them glowed with alien shields. Maria whispered, "Can humans truly fight them?" Serenia closed her eyes, her voice quiet as a falling leaf. "Humans are different," she said. "You break rules even we cannot understand. That is why we chose you." And deep in the shadows of Earth, Aaron stared at the code again. His heart heavy, his voice barely a whisper. "If they chose us, then we are no longer just humans. We are their last weapon." Above the planet, the warship shifted, engines roaring like thunder. The first shot of the coming war was about to be fired, and the dream of paradise was about to drown in fire and blood. The sky above Earth turned red. The massive warship that had watched in silence finally moved. Its engines roared like thunder, shaking oceans and mountains. Every satellite in orbit flickered. Every radio cracked with static. The hunters had come to strike. People filled the streets, eyes raised in terror. Some begged the alien women to protect them. Others screamed curses, blaming them for bringing this war. Cities once filled with music of hope now trembled under sirens. The dream of paradise broke into fear. World leaders gathered in secret bunkers. Generals spoke in harsh voices. "This is not their war anymore," one said. "This is humanity's war too," but others shouted. "We cannot fight such monsters. We must surrender or be destroyed." The room split. Fear against courage, doubt against trust. Serenia and the alien council stood before humanity, their golden eyes no longer calm but filled with fire. "They will not stop," Serenia said. "If you surrender, they will erase you." Her voice shook as she added, "We fled across galaxies, but they always find us. They will turn Earth into ashes unless we fight together." Her words struck the world like lightning. For the first time, humans understood. They were not just witnesses. They were targets. If Earth did nothing, the war would swallow them. But if they fought, they might lose everything. Still, a choice had to be made in New York. A human commander named General Hayes spoke to his soldiers. He raised his fist and shouted, "If this is paradise, we will defend it with human fire." The soldiers roared back, their voices shaking the night around the world. Armies prepared, weapons loaded, aircraft fueled. Humanity had chosen to stand. Aaron Blake, still locked in his lab, decoded the enemy's signals. He discovered something chilling. The warship was not alone. It was calling to others, summoning an entire fleet. "This is only the beginning," Aaron whispered. "The real storm is coming." But no one heard his warning. The world was already rushing to battle. The first strike came without warning. A beam of crimson fire split through Earth's shields. A city in Asia vanished in an instant. Millions gone. The shields flickered but held, glowing like cracked glass. People screamed, nations panicked, but the war had begun. The alien women launched their silver ships. Graceful and fast, they lit the skies with blue fire. Human jets rose beside them, roaring with steel wings. For the first time in history, humans and aliens flew as one. The hunters met them in the clouds, and the skies turned into chaos. Explosions painted the heavens. Alien ships weaved like arrows. Human jets attacked in sharp lines. The hunters' machines were monstrous, jagged, alive with rage. Every clash shook the earth below. People watched the skies not with hope but with trembling hearts. On the ground, cities turned into battlefields. Alien shields covered streets, human soldiers fired rifles. Children hid in shelters, families prayed. The dream of peace was drowned by the sound of war. Maria Torres ran through the ruins with her recorder. She captured voices of soldiers, faces of survivors. She looked up and saw Serenia fighting above, her ship glowing with golden light for the first time. Maria did not see an alien. She saw a warrior, and she realized Earth was no longer divided. They were all part of the same war now. Still, the enemy was merciless. They struck oceans, cracked mountains, tore apart skies. Every victory cost lives. Every shield cracked with fire. The humans fought fiercely, using tricks and improvisation, maneuvers the alien women never expected in the chaos. Human cleverness turned the tide in small ways. A jet ramming an enemy craft, a soldier rewiring alien tech mid-battle. The hunters had strength, but humans had unpredictability. Aaron Blake finally broke free from his lab and reached a broadcast station. He sent out a desperate message to leaders. "The warship is not their strongest weapon, it is only the spear," he cried. "The real danger is what they are doing with our DNA. They are rewriting us even now." But his warning was lost in the noise of war, ignored by men and women too busy surviving. As night fell, the first battle ended with smoke across the skies. The alien women and humans had forced the warship back. It did not fall, but it retreated to orbit. Watching, waiting, cheers rose from the survivors. But the joy was hollow. Millions were dead, cities burned, and more ships were coming. Serenia stood beside Maria on the ruins of a tower. Her face was pale, her voice filled with sorrow. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. "The hunters will return with fury." Maria's recorder shook in her hand. "Then what do we do?" she asked, her voice breaking. Serenia looked at the stars. Her golden eyes filled with fire. "We fight together, or we vanish forever." And high above, the warship pulsed with red light, sending its call into the black ocean of space, inviting an army that would make Earth tremble. The dream of paradise was gone, replaced by the nightmare of survival. The hunters did not retreat for long. Their warship circled Earth like a dark moon, waiting, watching, sending signals into the stars. And soon the sky answered one by one. More ships appeared from the void, jagged monsters of steel and fire. An entire fleet had come to claim Earth. Cities trembled as alarms wailed. Children clung to their parents. Soldiers stood ready in the cold night. The alien women gathered their silver ships, shining like blades of light. Humans fueled their jets, loaded missiles, and prepared for war unlike any in history. The planet itself seemed to hold its breath. General Hayes stood before his army. His voice was sharp, his words burned with fire. "Tonight we fight not for one nation, not for borders, but for Earth," he roared. The soldiers answered with a thunder of voices. For the first time, humanity was united. In the skies above, the first clash came. Hunter ships descended in storms of red fire. Tearing through clouds, alien craft met them, dancing with blue light. Human jets rose between them, engines screaming. The sky turned into a battlefield of fire. Explosions painted the heavens like dying stars. Missiles flew. Beams of energy cut through the dark. Every second, ships fell burning into the seas. But humans fought with something the hunters did not understand. Unpredictability. A squadron of pilots pretended to retreat, then turned sharply, crashing into the enemy's flank. Soldiers on the ground hacked into alien tech, turning their shields into traps even when outnumbered. Humans twisted chaos into weapons. The alien women watched with awe, Serenia whispered. "They fight like storms. They cannot be predicted." Maria Torres ran through the ruins of New London, her recorder still in hand. Capturing the screams, the courage, the fire, she watched as humans and aliens fought side by side, bleeding together for the first time. She understood. This was no longer about saviors or invaders. This was survival shared by both races. But the hunters struck harder. They unleashed weapons that split the sky open. A beam of fire cracked through the shields, burning cities to ash. Millions died in minutes. The paradise promised 5 years ago now looked like the end of the world. Aaron Blake, hidden deep in his lab, discovered the truth he feared. The hunters were not just fighting Earth. They were studying it. Every blast, every scan, every signal mapped human DNA. They wanted not only to destroy, but to consume, he whispered into the dark. They are hunting us as prey, desperate. Aaron reached out to Serenia, through stolen signals. He sent her the data. When she read it, her golden eyes filled with tears. "This is what they did to our men," she said. Her voice breaking, "They erased them piece by piece, until nothing remained." The battle raged on, over oceans. Hunter ships clashed with silver craft and human jets. On the ground, soldiers fought in ruined streets. Everywhere fire lit the night. The earth itself seemed to bleed. Yet in the chaos, small victories shone. A human squad disabled a hunter cannon using nothing but wires and courage. A wounded alien shielded children with her body, refusing to fall. A pilot with no missiles left rammed his jet into the enemy flagship. Every act of defiance carved hope into the darkness. General Hayes watched the skies and shouted into the comms, "Do not give them the planet. Do not give them the future." His voice reached soldiers across the world. And for a moment, humanity fought not with fear but with fury. Still, the enemy was endless. For every ship destroyed, 2 more appeared. For every soldier who stood, 10 fell. The war was eating Earth alive. And the hunters had not yet revealed their strongest weapon. At dawn, the horizon burned red. The hunters' fleet formed a circle around Earth. Their engines glowing like suns, Serenia looked at Maria and whispered, "They are preparing the final strike." Maria's voice shook. "Can we survive it?" Serenia closed her eyes, her face pale with sorrow. "Only if humans show us one more thing we do not expect." Aaron Blake stared at his screens, his hands trembling. He had found one last pattern in the enemy's signals. A weakness hidden in their DNA code. It was small. "Dangerous but real," he whispered. "We can fight them not only with fire, but with blood." As the skies filled with burning ships and falling bodies, as Earth itself screamed under the weight of war, humanity stood at the edge of extinction. But in that darkness, a new idea was born. Not strength, not beauty, not gifts, but human defiance, the will to survive no matter the cost. And above, the hunters gathered their power for one final blow. A weapon bright enough to erase oceans and mountains. The fire that would decide the fate of Earth. The world waited, broken but unbowed, for the last battle of survival was about to begin. The world burned as the hunters unleashed their final weapon. A beam brighter than the sun split through the sky. Mountains shook, oceans boiled, cities crumbled into ash. Billions screamed as the light consumed everything. It seemed the end of Earth had come. But in the chaos, humans refused to surrender. General Hayes ordered every jet, every missile, every alien ship to strike at once. The sky became fire, blue and red clashing like storm and thunder. The alien women poured their last energy into the shields. Humans fought with desperation, turning courage into weapons, and then Aaron Blake acted. He had cracked the hunter's code. He found a weakness not in their ships but in their very DNA. If humans combined their own blood with alien energy, they could disrupt the hunter's control. It was madness, dangerous. But the only chance, he sent the plan to Serenia. Her golden eyes widened with fear. "If you do this, humans will never be the same," she whispered. Aaron answered with steady voice, "We are already not the same. Your dream has changed us. Now we fight as more than human." Together, they unleashed the plan. A network of human blood samples fused with alien technology. It spread like lightning through the shields. Reaching the hunter's fleet, the enemy roared, their ships shaking as the code within them collapsed. One by one, the jagged war machines fell, crashing into oceans and deserts. The sky cleared, silence spread across Earth. The hunters were defeated. For the first time in history, humans and aliens had won together. But the cost was terrible. Cities lay in ruins, oceans black with fire, millions gone. 5 years later, Earth was reborn. The alien women kept their promise. Oceans were clean again. Forests grew. Skies turned blue. New cities rose from ashes, shining with human and alien design. Children laughed once more, but their eyes glowed faintly with golden light. For humanity was no longer only human. Families formed between humans and aliens. Strange new children were born, stronger, faster, brighter. They were called the new generation. The bridge between two worlds, some saw them as hope, others as danger. But none could deny that Earth was forever changed. Maria Torres became the voice of the new world. Her recordings of the war were played in schools. She reminded people of the price of paradise. Her bond with Serenia remained strong. Two women from different stars standing together. Yet even Maria sometimes asked herself if they had chosen freely, or been guided into this dream. Aaron Blake lived in silence. He knew the truth behind the victory. The hunters had been defeated not by weapons, but by rewriting life itself. Human blood and alien code were now forever linked. The new generation carried power no one could measure. He wrote in his journal, "We did not win without cost, we changed, and change cannot be undone." On quiet nights, he looked at the children playing in the streets. They smiled, they laughed, but their glowing eyes reminded him of the hunters' shadows. Paradise was here, but it was not the paradise humans had once known. It was something new, uncertain, and dangerous. Serenia often spoke to the council. "We are safe now, Earth is strong," she said. But in private, she admitted to Maria, "The hunters were only one enemy, there are others, darker, waiting in the void." Her golden eyes flickered with fear. "They will come when they smell life. They always do." And then came the final whisper of suspense. One evening, a child of the new generation stood on a hill. Staring at the stars, his eyes glowed brighter than any other. His voice calm but heavy. "They are coming back," he said softly. "Not just the hunters, others stronger, hungrier." The adults froze, their hearts cold with fear. For in his voice was not only warning, but certainty, as if he did not just see the future, but remembered it, as if something inside him already knew what was waiting beyond the stars. Earth had been saved, paradise had been built, but the dream carried shadows. Was it truly salvation, or the beginning of something else? Was it freedom or illusion? No one could answer, not yet. And so the story closed not with peace, but with silence, a silence filled with hope, fear, and the promise of another storm. Because paradise, once touched by fire, is never simple again.